Constitutional changes to our nation. Do you believe referendums should be used for future important decisions, and if so, what should the vote margin be to effect a change? I'm going to come back to Andrew Bingham on that one first, please.
Thank you. A lady down here said something earlier about we elect politicians to make decisions like that. I think it was the lady in the second row. And I think you've got quite a good point. The whole issue of the EU referendum was something that was promised by all our three parties at one time or another, and consequently we are, if you want to use the word blame, I think all three parties, having promised a referendum at some point, it created a thirst and an appetite for a referendum on our membership of the European Union. And it was part of our manifesto 2 years ago. We formed a government and we delivered on that promise. Now, we've had 3 referendums in this country, 2 on the European Union and 1 on the alternative vote system. I tend to have some sympathy with the lady's view that actually as politicians we're elected to make decisions and make laws, but the referendum was promised and it was delivered. Now the result of that referendum, as we've already said, was the cause of great concern on both sides of the argument. I think we have a parliamentary democracy that works well, and I would be reluctant to see any further referenda.
What would you say about an MP who only votes the way his party tells him to vote and not the way the constituency does?
Well, I think we're talking about referendums.
Yeah, 97% of the time.
We're talking about referendums on the margin.
As somebody who's described in the independent newspaper as a serial rebel, and I've got the newspaper cutting if you want to see it, I have always said,
And that'll be a Tory paper then?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the question is about referendums and about whether we approve of them in a parliamentary democracy and what the vote margin should be. I wonder if we could stick to that question, please.
The question was asked, and I was going to give you some examples,
But what?
George, please, would you like to
Thank you very much. The problem with referendums, as an earlier question said, is that they are very, very divisive. And we saw that last year here. We saw that especially 2 years ago in Scotland. And I have friends in Scotland who are still very bruised by the referendum on Scottish independence, even though the result was the way that it wanted to go. The problem is when referendums are used for party political purposes, not for making a straight decision for the country, where they are made to pander to backbenchers or to views within a particular party, as happened with the EU referendum last year and as happened with the Scottish independence referendum, because you can never put the genie back in the bottle. And we've seen that if we hadn't voted Brexit, there would still be a campaign for people to vote for another referendum. There still is some campaigning for another referendum. I'll leave it for you to decide whether that's for party political purposes and party political gain or not. But as Andrew says, Parliament is there to scrutinise, to make decisions. We need to hold our MPs to account to make sure they do properly scrutinise decisions, they do ask the hard questions, and that they are prepared to go against the party line to do that and make sure we get the best decisions for High Peak and for our country.
Yeah.
Charles Lawley, Lib Dems and referendums, what do they think?
Well, I mean, we haven't gone our way recently, but so I think referenda should be reserved for big constitutional changes only. So actually, things like abolishing the House of Lords must be more democratically elected, let's hope, and changing voting in the voting system. That's the sort of thing you'd have a referendum for. Everything else you would really want to do Parliament. But in terms of Brexit, I mean, we've set a precedent now. Like I said, we voted for departure, not destination. But once we know the destination, which was, and this was always the belief of David Davis, the Brexit secretary and Leave voter, that leaving the European Union there should be two referendums. The first one should be to leave, and then the people get a final say on the Brexit deal, and that's something I completely support because it's going to affect you. And we do not believe that it should be votes, should be Brexit at any cost. In terms of what the vote margin should be in a binary choice referendum, it should be whoever has the most votes.
So 50-50 is yours.
Yeah.